But the keys that we did want to hear him speak about today were North Korea and Cuba. Certainly, he talked about the North Korean incursion, if you will. The FBI now says that the cyber attack on Sony was indeed something that came from the North Korean government. They have identified that. And the president has also said that there will be some sort of a response, if you will. Let's talk a little bit more about this. Let's bring in right now Stephen J.J. Weisman. He is an attorney, professor at Bentley University. He is also a cyber security expert. Stephen, thanks for joining us today. I think you're still there. Stephen, can you hear me okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
There we go. We got you
Yeah,
right now.
good.
Always takes a couple of seconds to make sure that all the audio, everything gets hooked up. You've
That's
been listening
those
to the
North
president. Well, it could be. Please, we have to be very careful. We don't know anything we say anymore if the North Koreans are going to attack us. But that's a great place to start, because what has happened here now is it would seem that a private company here in the United States has basically said not only to North Korea but to every other nation around the world and every other hacker, if you get to us and you get deep enough into our systems, you can shut us down, you can censor us, and we are willing to roll over because we're afraid of what might happen next. Is that a logical fear coming from a company and from a government, Stephen?
Well, I was distressed when Sony did cave in and would not release the movie. I was upset at the start because I don't think Sony took the threat seriously. Their security system was not up to the task. It was not adequate. It's something that I agreed with the president. We need to have much more information sharing, and we need some legislation. I first looked at this as a great wake-up call to America that we have to do a better job of cybersecurity, and not just for companies like Sony, but really our infrastructure, our power plants and that. But the threat to free speech and the First Amendment, and that a company like this cowered, it just means we're going to have these kinds of attacks again, and we certainly better be better prepared.
Stephen, what about this? Because there's apparently a thinking process here, and it's been in a couple of pieces of the media that I've read in the last 24 hours from people who have escaped North Korea who said, look, if you want to go ahead and give a proper response to this, the thing to do is hack back, attack, go after them. Don't sit back and wait. Is that smart? And not only that, are we at the level that we could do that?
We are. Actually, as sophisticated as this attack was by North Korea, we are at a much higher level. The question is, well, firstly, one of the things is even though North Korea has the kind of capability to do the attacking, their internet system, their cyber systems are really very rudimentary. So attacking those doesn't necessarily help. Attacking the attackers, yes, perhaps some kind of an attack upon their ability to do this, and that we could do. We also could be looking at further economic sanctions, but I think something directly aimed at their capabilities to achieve this kind of international, what I will call cyber terrorism, I think that would be the most appropriate response.
Are we almost looking then at a birth of a new counterterrorism or a new counterintelligence effort, if you will? Because apparently 18 of these hackers in this, I believe it's Section 121 is what they're calling it, which is where all of these hackers came from. They're spread around the world. So aren't we now going back again to what was old Cold War spies, if you will, and CIA, but we're going to bring that up into the 21st and even 22nd century now and make it all cyber CIA? We've got to go after and find these people, don't we?
We do. And however, we can trace them. That was one reason why we were able to trace this attack from North Korea. We were able to see it didn't come directly from North Korea, but we can find where they are sending this malware from. So yes, this is cyber warfare. It's been going on for quite a while. Russia has used it against the Ukraine. We have used it against Iran. Iran has used it against American companies. So it's now a recognition of a lot of the battles are going to be going on in cyberspace, and not the least of which is, as much as North Korea is a threat, we've got to be concerned with terrorist groups like ISIS. ISIS has a British hacker who hacked into the email of John Major at one point. This is very scary stuff, and we have got to be up to the task.
All right, I got a couple of minutes left here, and you just talked about other countries. Here we go. There's a report from the National Security Agency that China and other countries could attack the entire U.S. power grid right now. An intelligence report says North Korea planned attacks on U.S. nuclear plants. From your knowledge, what you see happening, the level of expertise that we see North Korea and others that, is there indeed an imminent threat that within a day or two, an hour or two if they wanted to, that these countries could get into our nuclear plants, our power plants, our grid, if you will, and shut us down?
I think it's a legitimate fear. I don't know if we fully know the extent, but there was a hacking in the Department of Energy just this past year in which all kinds of information regarding the dams across the United States was taken by what we believe to be Chinese hackers. So yes, our power plants, our electric grid, not to mention Wall Street and the financial system, it is threatened, and it's going to require the kind of unified response that we did militarily after 9/11. We've got to take this as the warning shot across our bow to protect our cyber borders.
20 seconds. We're not ready for this, are we?
We're not. Particularly, the government is a little bit better than private corporations, but private corporations are not. And no, we've got a lot of things to do and a short time to do it.
Boy, and we better realize too that when it comes to cyber hacking, we're talking about things that happen in seconds that don't actually take minutes to get done as well. Stephen J.J. Weisman, want to thank you very much for joining us. Great expertise. We thank you. Have a great holiday season.
You too.
All right, take care. Break, and we are back with some reality now on businesses falling over each other to spend money in a possibly free and open Cuba. And coming up at 43 minutes after the hour, unless the president says something that we may go back to, we are going to bring you the ugliest reason for the season one could ever possibly imagine. We're back on track. Friday continues right here on MidPoint.